The last part of 10.5 is looking at the distributive property, this time with negative numbers. And so the distributive property is where we use the rainbow. And so for this first example here, we would start by going -7 times 3, which would give us our -21 you see down here. And then we're going to drop down this plus sign, so plus. And then we're going to make a rainbow because now we're going to do -7 times 6. -7 times 6 gives us that -42 here. And we end up with the answer of -63. Let's try another one. So we're going to do a rainbow again. So we've got -3 times 5, which gives us this -15 here. Then we're going to drop down our sign, which this time is subtraction. And then we're going to do -3 times the 6, which gives us the -18. Okay, now we've got two negative signs in a row, which is what gives you this positive here. So we've got -15 plus 18, and we end up with an answer of 3. But you might be saying, well, wait a minute, but we could have done these with BEDMAS. We're not following BEDMAS rules here. And that's true. We could have done these with BEDMAS. So that first one, I'm just going to write it out again. We could have said, well, first we deal with the brackets, which gives us 9 here. So we would get -7 times 9, which is -63. And look at that, we get the same answer. So we could use BEDMAS here, and that's what I would suggest doing. But knowing how to do the distributive property is important. It's going to help us a lot with our next chapter. Because in the next chapter, instead of just having integers inside your brackets, like 3 plus 6, maybe you'll have a 3 plus x. And so you can no longer add them together. But stay tuned for that for later. So the next one, again, let's just do with BEDMAS to show we can. So here's the question. So with BEDMAS, we'd start with, in the brackets here, 5 minus 6 gives us -1. So we get -3 times -1, and that gives us 3. So we get the same answer. Okay, but let's do these next ones using the distributive property. The next 3 here, we can all use the distributive property for. Okay, so again, we're going to use the rainbow. So we're going to do -2 times -3, which gives us +6. Then we're going to drop down our sign here, which is positive. And then we're going to do -2 times +5, which gives us -10. Okay, and so then when we do the math there, 6 plus -10, we get -4. Okay, why don't you pause this video and see if you can do the next two using the distributive property. Okay, and hopefully you had a chance to do these on your own. Let's try them together. So we've got 4 times -3 gives us -12. Then we're going to drop down our sign, which is positive here. And then we've got 4 times 6, which gives us 24. And so we've got -12 plus 24, which gives us +12. Okay, next one, we've got -7 times -3, which is +21. Then we've got a negative sign here, so a minus sign, so we're going to copy that down. Whoops. Let's try it. Sorry again. Let me do that again. +21, and then we've got a minus sign. And then we've got -7 times -7 times +8, which would give us -56. And so we've got two negative signs in a row. So this would be the same as 21 plus 56, which would give you 77. Okay, next one. So now we're just kind of dealing with BEDMAS. And so, which again, you could have used for those first 3. You could have done the brackets first instead of distributing. But now I'm just going to do these ones with BEDMAS because we've got into exponents and things like that. So I'm going to start with what's in my brackets here. Maybe I'll just underline that. Okay, so we're starting there. So this is going to be 4 plus 2 times 5 minus 7 gives us -2. Now we've got -2 squared, so we're going to deal with that next because we want to deal with that exponent there, our e. And so we get 4 plus 2, and then -2 all squared is -2 times -2, right? -2 times -2, which gives us +4. So we've got 4 plus 2 times 4. What's our next step here? So here we've got addition and multiplication. So using BEDMAS, we'd say, well, we do the multiplication before the addition. So we get 4 plus 8. And then we can do that final addition there to get 12. Okay, next one, we've got, first we should deal with these brackets. So -35 minus 3 minus 7 gives us -4. And that's cubed. So the next thing we're going to deal with is the exponent. So we've got -35 minus, and then -4 cubed. You can either type in your calculator -4 times -4 times -4, or you can use the button to do -4 cubed. If you do, make sure you do bracket -4 bracket, so your calculator knows the entire -4 is cubed. And you'll find it gives you -64. So we've got two sticks in a row that turn into a positive, so -35 plus 64. And that gives you 29. Okay, next one, we've got a fraction bar. So remember, you want to evaluate above and below the bar before you do that final division. Above the bar, we're going to deal with the exponent first. So we've got 3 minus -2 cubed is -2 times -2, which gives us +4. And then on the bottom, we just have one addition, -7 plus 3 would give us -4. Okay, so now we can deal with that subtraction in the numerator. So 3 minus 4 gives us -1. And so we've got -1 over -4, and we've got a negative divided by a negative, so that just becomes a positive. So our answer then ends up being 1/4. Okay, and last one, again, we're going to deal with BEDMAS above and below the bar first. Above the bar, I'm going to start with these brackets. And below the bar, we could start with our exponents. So above the bar, I'm going to have 2 minus 3 times 1 minus 5 gives me -4. And then below the bar, I've got -3 all cubed, which gives me -27. Plus -4 squared gives me 16. Okay, so above the bar, my next step is the exponent here. So I've got 2 minus 3 times -4 all squared is +16. And then on the bottom, I can do that addition now. So I've got -27 plus 16, and that gives me -11. So we're not quite done the numerator yet. The next thing we can do is this multiplication here. And so we get 2 minus 3 times 16 gives me 48. And that's still over -11. Now I can do that subtraction to get -46 over -11. And I've got two negatives, so those cancel each other out. 46 over 11, can we simplify? No. 11 is prime, so its only factors are 1 and 11. And 46 can't go into 11. So this is the simplest we can go. So our answer here then would be 46 over 11. Or if you want, you could make it a mixed number, which would be 4 and 2 over 11. And that's it for chapter 10.